Hello everyone, this is TM105 and today I will be covering meeting 6. Now let me directly just go to the uh, objectives of meeting 6. You see the main objectives, if you read them, you see method, 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 method. Now even these over here, method to pass arguments, passing arguments to a method. So everything is related about a method. Now you have been using methods since you started your very first program. You see, from the very first program, I have used a method. Let me go briefly to the board. I will not continue with these slides. I will come back to them later quickly because I will be covering everything in the slides over on my IDE. But let me first show you what do you mean by a method and where you have used it, and try to write our own method. So I will go directly to my board over here and let me put a simple Java program. You see, when you write a Java program, or the first program you wrote the public class. Here, let me do this in a different color. This is code. I will make it a little bit larger. So public class, let's say we call this welcome, and of course we have the public static void main. I will increase this a little bit, which takes a string array, we called it args, and the first line that we wrote, or the only line that we wrote, this is how we started: system dot out dot println hello world semicolon, and then I was able to, of course, close this and close this. Now let me write another line of code. Now at this stage this code should be very easy, very simple. Let me write another line of code, also very simple. If I need another line of output, and this was one of the exercises, I used system.out.println. Let me put, instead of Java, let me just put output is, or providing output. Here, let me make this larger. Is easy. Now notice what we have over here. When I am writing system.out.println, whatever I give as a parameter, you see this hello world, this is becoming the actual output. This providing output is easy. This is what you will see on the output box. These two lines, if you have an output box over here, let me put this as an output box, and I will put the text, you will see hello space world, and then you go to a new line because this is println. And for providing output is easy, you will see providing output, exactly the same identical cases, is easy with an exclamation, and you go to a new line. You see, this is the output for these two lines. Now the way the output was generated, we are calling something called println. You see, this is the same function, this is a method. So what we have, we actually have somewhere in Java a method. We have the method called println, and this println takes any string. Now I am reducing it to the maximum. You see, I am reducing it to the maximum. This is the name and a parameter. So let me put over here that this is the method name. This method is called println, and the println takes a parameter. So let me put over here, we call this a parameter. So somewhere in Java we have the method println that takes a parameter. Now of course it's written differently. You see, writing a program, public class, welcome, public static void, main. So this println, it must be written somehow similar to this one, like public static void println. We will come to it. We will come to it in just a few minutes. But first, let me continue. You see, the method println, it takes a string. Now, it is very possible to write println without strings. You could write a println, for example. Let me put here at the end of the code. You can write a system dot out dot println with nothing in it. This means that at the output you are going to write an empty line. You see, this is an empty line. So hello world, go to a new line. Providing output is easy. Go to a new line. Print nothing, just go to a new line. Now this println is slightly different. I have another method called println which takes nothing. You see, I have two methods called println. Both have the same name, but they have different parameter list. So I will put over here. This is called a parameter list, and we will see why it is called a parameter list. Now what I wrote over here is basically, it's not the method declaration. What I wrote over here is known as the method signature, and I will come to method signature later on in my discussion. Now let me try to give you how the println was actually coded, or what is the main definition or declaration of the method. You see, somewhere in Java you have the public static void println, which takes nothing, and this method has a body. So let me put over here with some code written in it. This is the method println that takes nothing, and I have another method which is called public static void println, which takes a string. Now this string needs a name, the name of the variable. So this could be text, for example, and then we have the body of the method. Alright, now this is already done for us, and all that we have to do is call the method. You see, somewhere in Java these two are already declared for us, and what we are actually doing is calling them. When you write system.out.println and you put over here, for example, a parameter, this is actually a method call. So you are calling the method println. So calling the method println means I am requesting the code of println to be executed, to run. So this println, I am requesting the method println to run. Alright, now enough with this println. You will get the idea later at the end of the tutorial. Now let me start by writing an example and showing you how we can write the same method with the same name but with different parameter list, and I will then explain what is a signature. So I will leave an empty space over here for later. I will go directly to NetBeans and I will start a new project. Alright, no need to modify the name because this is a project just for explanation. Let me, for clarity, I will remove these annoying comments. And let me zoom in so that you can see it. Alright, now let me start by writing my code as I got used to, writing it inside main. So this is my main method, by the way. So now inside main, assume that I need to write a code that will generate let's say uh, 8 stars. So I will write a for loop. For int I equal to 0 semicolon, I less than 8 semicolon, I plus plus, and the body of this loop, it will be a single line, system dot out dot print, and I will put over here a star, and after the for loop, system dot out dot print ln, just go to a new line. Alright, so I wrote 3 lines. It should be very logical, like my loop variable starts with 0, it's being incremented by 1, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3 onwards, and the last valid value is anything before 8, so it will reach 7 is valid, 8 is not valid, so 8 will cause to go out. From 0 to 7, these are the valid values. If you count them, you have 8 stars, and then you are going to a new line. Let me run this. You will see the output. So yes, it's now building the application. Here it is. So this is my output. You can count the number of stars. These are 4. These are another 4. So I have 8 stars, and then I went to a new line. Alright. Now, let me take all of this code, and I need to replace it. You see, I will cut this code here. Cut. Not delete. Control X. Cut. You can use the edit. You can cut. Alright? So now it's in the clipboard. Now, I can paste it. Control V. Here it is back. Okay? So I will cut this code because I need to put it somewhere else. Instead of these 3 lines, I need to put a method call. I will call this draw stars without any parameters. Now I have an error because NetBeans is complaining. It is telling me that I do not understand what draw stars is. I do not have a definition for draw stars. Yes, I did not code it yet. It's not written, but this is what I intend to do. You see, when I call draw stars, it will draw stars. Now notice that a method is always followed by parentheses. When you are calling it, if there is no parameters, you must put them. Otherwise, draw stars would look like a variable. Now I need to write the code for draw stars. Well, you are free to write it after the main or before the main. It doesn't matter. With methods, it doesn't matter. Unlike variables, when you need to use a variable, you must declare it and then use it. With methods, you could write the method definition at a later time, because Java is divided into a class where this class has different methods in it, but there is no special order for methods. So I will write it after the main, but you could write it before the main. Now notice what I will do. I will start with the same signature. Public. We will come back to these. Static. Void. Now I need to call it to draw stars. It has to be exactly the same way written. Draw stars. Now this draw stars is not going to take anything, and I put curly braces. You see, I do not have an error anymore. Now Java knows that, and when it reaches this line, oh, I need to call draw stars, so it will go to line number 8. And this means that line number 9 is the first line to be executed. Now I will use the paste. You can go to edit, select paste, or simply just Control V on the keyboard. You see, these are the 3 lines that I removed. So instead of putting these 3 lines over here, I placed them over here. You see, the exact same 3 lines. I did not rewrite them. And I placed them inside something called draw stars. So these 3 lines are now identified by the name draw stars. And I told the Java over here, you can find the code that I need inside a method called draw star. So Java would start the main method at line number 4. Then it reaches line number 5. It would go directly to line number 8 and continue 9, 10, 11 and so on. Now I know that this is going to draw 8 lines, so let me just show you the output. You see, here's the output. It is my default 8 stars. To understand this better, I will use one of the features of the IDE. You do not have, in case you understood, you do not have to do this example. Just follow through. Let me show you how the IDE might help you understand what I mean going to 5, going to 8, going to 9, these line numbers. Instead of going to run directly, I will go to the debug menu and I will select the step into F7. Alright, now notice that line number 5 is highlighted and there is an arrow next to it. You see, now the program is paused. Java started, it started in the main method, and this is the first line. Now when I go over here, you see continue, I have step over, I have step over, I have step into. Okay, I do not want to continue, I want to step into. I need to see how it will go to this draw star. So I will click on step into and notice where it will jump. It is currently at line number 5. Here I clicked step into, now it is at line number 9. You see, I called the method, there's no output yet. Check the output, there's no output yet. I called the method, it went to this line. Now I is 0, I less than 8, yes. I will press step into. You see the condition 0 less than 8 is true. I went into the loop. So now I reach the print star. My output is still print, and this star did not execute. Now be careful, do not press step into, otherwise you are going to go to the print method and see how it might work. So over here I need to let me just double check which one. This is step over. Okay, step over means show me the result of the method without going into it. So I will click step over and you see there's a star over here. This is the first star, and now I am back at basically I++. You can see the variables over here. I is currently 0. If I press step into, you can see the value of I is 1, and now 1 less than 8, yes. I do not have an output yet. I will press the step over. You see, and now I have another star. I will go to the variables. I is 1. When I press step into, you see I is 2, because I++, the condition is correct. I reached this print. I will continue now with only step over. You see another star, valid condition, another star, valid condition, another star. I know they are 8 stars, so this is 6, this is 7, and this is star number 8. Now the condition is false, so it will go to the print line. You see, I will press the step into. You see, the condition is false. So now I am at this line. This will draw a single line, so I will just step over. Now the method draw stars reach its end. Notice where I will go back. I will step into. I went back to the main. You see, draw stars. I drew the 8 stars. I drew a line, and I went back to the main. Now I can just simply continue the program because this is it. It terminated, and now program successful. Alright, this debug was just to show you how it was actually running. If you understood the code, what we mean by it, it's perfect. No need to do the debug exercise. Okay, let me do one slight modification. You see, the problem with this code is that it is drawing only 8 stars. Okay, what if I need a draw stars that can draw a variable number of stars. You see this 8, I do not want it to be 8. I want this to be a variable n representing the number of stars. So if n is 8, n stars. If n is 6, 6 stars. If n is 7, 7 stars. If only I can tell, draw stars, how many stars do I need? Well, this is why we have the parameter list. You see over here, any variable you need to take from the calling line and send it to draw stars, you declare it over here. For example, I need to draw 5 stars. You see, I need this 5 to go to this variable n. I need something like this, draw stars, 5 stars only. Maybe I need 10 stars. You see, this is a variable. The value is varying. I can put different values. So this is my variable n. Now, this value is an integer. So over here, you can say that this is draw stars is going to take an integer. Now, the integer inside the method is going to be called n. You see, I do not have any errors. So draw stars 10. 10 will go to this n. The value of n is 10, and the loop will be executed. Let me show you a 10 star. You see 10 stars. You can count them. Here they are, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me put over here 6 stars. Run. Only 6. You see, draw stars, the code depends on a value, the value of the variable n. And this variable is being sent as a parameter. Alright, now I will go directly to the method signature. Let me go back to the board and let me state what the method signature is based on draw stars. Public, static, void, draw stars, and over here integer n. Alright, now this part only, the name and the parameter list, this part only, and not the name of the variable. This gives me something known as a method signature. So this is over here, draw stars, which takes an integer. You see this one over here, this is called the method signature. The first method that I wrote, public, static, void, draw stars, it takes nothing. So the method signature, this is the method signature, here it is. Draw stars, that takes nothing. So this will give me the method signature, draw stars, which takes nothing, no parameters. Let me write one more. What if I wrote public, static, void, draw stars, and it takes an integer value. An integer called value. Again, we need to examine this part, starting with the name and the list of parameters, and deduce the signature. You see, draw stars int value, it has exactly the same signature as the first method. These two have identical signatures. It is the name and the parameter. Alright, one more. Public static void draw stars. Now assume that I had a method called draw stars which takes two lines of rows, int row 1, int row 2. Check the method signature. This is the method draw stars. So this has a signature, draw stars, which takes an integer and another integer. Alright, now of course I am using integer just an example. The type of the variables in the parameter list could be anything. Int, double, string, you can create your own types, anything. Now in Java, in the same class, and this is very important, so let me put it over here. Let me put it in red. Alright. In the same class, you cannot have two methods with identical signatures. And now we know how to read the signature. You see, the signature starts with the method name, nothing before the method. So if I have public static int draw stars and int, it is the same signature. I will write it right now. But in Java, in the same class, you cannot have two methods with identical signature. Let me put this over here. The example that I just mentioned. Public static int draw stars. It takes an integer n, or let me put, instead of n, let me put an integer, let's say number. The signature always from the name, okay, I did not want a straight line, from the name afterwards. So this is still, even though it is an int and the first one is a void, this is also draw stars with a single int. In Java, in the same class, you cannot have two methods with identical signatures. Not allowed. Alright, now before I continue with method signatures, I will take an example where we might need different methods with different signatures, or the same method with different signatures. And when we will take more than one parameter, we will take these examples. Let me just briefly go and comment on the main parts of the method. So let me lift this over here. Again, public static void draw stars. Okay, this is not stars, this is stars, and an integer n. Alright, the first section, these are called modifiers. Okay, these are called modifiers. Now this void over here, this is the return type. Void means the method returns nothing, so this is the return type. We'll see an example where we might need the method to give us a value. Now after the return type comes the name. So this is the name of the method, or what identifies the method, an identifier. And after the name, this is the parameter list. Now it's actually called the formal parameter list. All right, the formal parameter list. Now, the name and the formal parameter list, we know that this is called a signature. Okay, let me lift this up a little bit. So this is known as the method signature. Alright, so now you have all the sections of the method, and of course the method is followed by the method body, and the method body is a block containing one or more than one statement. Alright, so there's a method body containing one or more than one statement. Alright, now let me go back to my NetBeans, and let's use the same method with different list of parameters. Okay, I will go in just a second, but first let me put over here a definition. Method overloading. This means the same method name but different signatures, and this has to be in the same class. Alright, in a class, when you have two methods with the same names but different signatures, we call this method overloading. So I will go now to my NetBeans and demonstrate this concept, the method overloading concept. Here, let me go to my NetBeans. Now this is draw stars. Okay, I will take the same code of draw stars, copy, I will paste it again, and I will remove. You see, first Java is complaining you have two methods with the same signature, even if this is called number. Now it's complaining on number. Here is number. Still, it is complaining two methods with identical signature, not allowed. So let me remove this parameter. You see, the error is not there anymore, and let me return this back to 8. You see, now I have method overloading. The same method draw stars will either draw 8 stars or will draw a variable number of stars that the user is sending. So let me put over here draw stars with nothing. Alright, let me reduce the font a little bit. Okay, this is too much, but fine. I need to debug this program. Let me go to my debugger and let me step into. Now, no need for you guys to debug it. Just follow with me. What I do over here. You see, you first started at this line. It's highlighted in green. Draw stars that takes an integer. So this is defined in line number 15. So now the program is going to jump directly to the first line of this method, which is line number 16. So if I press on step into, alright, here, press on step into, you see now I am at line number 16. You see, this is grayed out, means it did not complete. You are now calculating or doing or executing the draw stars, which takes one parameter. You see, I skipped this one. Now, I will step. No need. You can step out. By the way, I will step out. Okay. Now you see the 6 stars. If I finished, I executed this right away. I told it to step out, like finish running this, instead of going over it. And now notice that I am at line number 6. because line number 5 completed and I have 6 lines. Now at line number 6, if I press step into, you see line number 6 is now grayed out and I am at line number 10. I am in the other draw stars, the draw stars that takes nothing. So I was able to call draw stars with no parameters. Now you understand the difference between print line with nothing and print line with a parameter. Now if I step out of this, I will come back to this line and I will see 8 stars on the output. So let me just step out. You see now I have the 8 lines and I am finishing my main method. Alright, so I will just continue till the end. This is it, build successful. Alright, now I will write another example. I will use the same code over here. So let me just make this as an empty program. I will remove these draw stars. Another example. Now let me start by writing what I need from the example. Integer sum equal to 0 for int I equal to 1 semicolon, I less than 10 or less than or equal, let's put it 10 semicolon, I plus plus, sum plus equal to 10. Alright, and I need to print the value of sum. System.out.println sum is equal, I will concatenate it with sum. This is still one. You see, concatenation means that I still have only one, there is no comma, I still have only one parameter, which is a string, because I use concatenation. So this will be calculated first, it will be a string, it will be sent to println. Alright, now this is a method where it calculates, okay, over here, sorry, not 10, my mistake. I need to calculate the sum from 1 to 10. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 until I add 10. I know the sum, this will be 55. So this is the sum from 1 to 10. Alright, now what I need to do, I need to basically be able to modify this 1 and this 10. One way to do it is to take all of these lines, these 4 lines, put them inside a method and modify this to be like start and this to be end, and take start and end as parameters. Well, what if I do not want this method to provide an output? Let me take only 3 lines. I do not want this method to provide the output. You see, I did not take all the 4 lines. Now, I know I have an error, I will come back to it, but let me first write the method. Public static void, I will be modifying this, and calculate sum. It needs an integer start and an integer end, and here's the body. Alright, you see inside my method from lines 8 to 12 I do not have anything underlined in red, no syntax error. I just have a logical error, sum is underlined in green. Well, basically I am calculating a value for this sum and not doing anything with it. So this is why it's underlined in green. So this is a warning, like, why are you calculating the value of sum inside a method and you will not do anything with it? You are not printing it and not doing anything else with it. You see, I need this method to be able to give me a value. You see, in my output, which I am writing in the main method, I need this output to give me the value sum. So let me put over here, sum from 1 to 10 is equal, and I need to calculate, I need this value sum, which is available over here in the method calculate sum. So I will replace this by calculate sum. I know that the calculate sum needs two values. I will send 1 and 10, and this calculate sum, it's not void. It now gives me an integer value, int. You see, calculate sum, all of this will be replaced by the value. For example, it will be 55 from 1 to 10. So now the calculate sum returns a value. If a method simply provides output, it will be void. If a method returns a value, you need to put the type of this value, int, double, string. It returns something. Now the last line of the method, you see I have an error at this curly brace. The curly brace is not the problem. For the method to give me a value, I need the return statement, return the value of sum. So figure out what the value of sum is and give me back this value. Okay, now let me run it. Let me run it. Sum from 1 to 10 equal to 55. What I actually did was send 1 to start. The order is the same, they should match. Send 10 to end. So from 1 to 10, add them. Add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 until you add 10. Sum will have, which started with 0, it will have the value 55, return 55, so this will be replaced by the value 55. Sum from 1 to 10 equal 55. Now let's do it another time. Sum from, let's say, let me take the values from 12 to 20. So I need to send the 12 and the 20. So this is 12 plus 13 plus 14 plus 15 all the way until you add the 20. So let me run it. You see, sum plus from 1 to 10 is 55. Sum plus from 12 to 20 is 144. Make sure that you are sending the correct parameters. And you can check the answer on a calculator. So now I have a method that can do some action and return a value. And return a value. Let me go briefly to the slides. Objectives. Define and call methods with or without formal parameters. With or without a return value, I have done them. To use method overloading, I did it. Now passing arguments by value. This is a little bit confusing because we have been passing values, but passing arguments by reference, this will be invoke methods with arrays. So I will comment on these in just a second. Now understand the benefits of having methods in programs. I will go to the first few slides and then I will go to this benefit. You see, this is the opening problem, which is calculating the sum. Now there's the output statement. I removed this output statement to use a return value, but you can take a look at these, follow with the slides. Now over here you are returning an int directly. So this is the example that I did, and here they are calling, but they called the method sum and the variable is called sum. It is fine, it is fine. However, I find it a little bit confusing. So it might be better to use different names. However, this is the name of the method and this is a name of a variable, so there might be no problem. All right. Now, there's a note over here. You can write it before the main or after the main. It may be reused anywhere inside the same class. Now, you can copy the code to another part and use it, yes. So, here's some explanation. You have seen methods with return value in the math class. You have seen methods with return value using the scanner. And you have seen methods with output using simply just the print or println. Declaring methods, this is the method header. These are modifiers, return type, the method name, the parameter list, and the method body. This is the draw stars. Here's the draw stars. What is static means there's only one of it. Now we will be using static only for our methods because we are calling them from main, and main is a static. In later courses, the object-oriented course, you will take other type of methods that are not static and that are not public. But for TM105, it's always public static. Now, here's what I wrote: the modifier, return type, name, parameter list. You can read everything in the slides. Method body, how you call it, and then the method body will run. It will give you an output. You can modify this to number of stars, and this is how it's going in memory. You can give it different values. We have seen these. Read the slides. They are very important. You are not allowed to send. You see, the parameters that you send should match the number of parameters. These 7,9, I do not have two integers, only one. And 5.0 is a double. I cannot put a double inside an integer. It cannot be promoted. So these will give you syntax errors. Alright, so this is an important slide. Alright, every variable in a parameter list, you must use a comma and use the type again. It's not that you are declaring a list of variables, so be very careful. This is how I used it, the start and the end. I declared both as integers because this has to do with the method signature. You cannot use a comma and not use the type. Whereas declaring a list of variables, you put the type once and you list the variables after each other. So be careful. This is a little bit confusing. All right. Now, different drawing of number of stars. Two methods now. One of them before the main, one after the main. It doesn't matter. This is known as method overloading. We discussed this. Same name, different signatures. Here it is. It's written over here. We know what the signature is. And this is the whole program where the methods are. So, and it's giving you some hints. You can read all of these hints. Okay, I need to go now to the last slide directly, and then I will continue the remaining concepts. You see, benefits of methods. Hide the implementation from the user. This is like when we use the next int of scanner or the println. We did not know how they are written. We do not even need to know how they are coded. We just need to know they exist and use them. Reusability. You write the method once and reuse it anywhere in the same program by calling it many times, or in different programs by copying the code or simply importing a library. Now, reduce complexity. It might look complex at first, but really writing a method and having the option of using variables being replaced in the code, this is going to reduce the amount of code. Once you get used to methods, you will find them very useful, very useful. All right. Now I need to go to the next concept, which is what happens when we pass an array to a method. Let me go to my board. All right, here's my board. Now, let me, I will write briefly some code over here. Assume I have a class. For example, this is public class, and let's say this is example 1, or maybe this is example 3 now. I have the public static void main. And let me extend this, and I like to put the code in this blue color. String array args. This is my main method, and let me declare an integer array, and I will directly give it some values. So let's say 2, 5, 8, 12, and I need a method. I need a method which will calculate the sum of the values in this array. Let me give this array a name. Sorry, my mistake. Numbers. I need a method to calculate the value, or to calculate the sum of the elements inside the array. So I need to print out the sum. System dot out dot print ln, and let me call over here, for example, sum is equal, and I will call the method calculate sum, and then I will send the array numbers. Alright, I will continue the example, of course, in NetBeans, but first of all I need, okay, this is, it did not end, the class did not end, this is just the main method. Now what is really happening over here? When you send a reference and when you send a value, let me assume I have two calculate sum. One of them, it takes an array. Another one, it takes a variable, even if it is a variable. Here, let me put it as a variable. It would be better for the explanation. Int number is equal to 10, and instead of using 10 over here, I will use number. Alright, so of course I have an overloaded method called calculate sum. Once it takes an integer, another time it takes an array. Let me show you in memory. So let me put over here, I will use a red box for my memory. A red box for my memory. Alright, remember, this is my memory, this is my RAM. Now I have the number. This is a memory location for number, and number is a primitive data type. So this is number, it includes the value 10. I have the numbers. So here's the variable called numbers. We know that numbers is an array, so this is numbers. So numbers is going to hold the location of where these values are in memory. So let me put these values in memory. Alright, here let me copy this. Okay, not this. I need to copy, paste. Alright, excellent. Now let me put them over here in memory. I know there are 4 memory locations, so this is a 3 because I have 4 values in my array. The first one is 2 at index 0, the second is 5, the third is 8, the last one is 12. Now assume that this is at memory address 12012. Let me put this in a different color. So this is a memory address, here it is, and this numbers now 12012. We know that this is called a reference. This is called a reference. It is referring where in memory the values of the array are located. So this is what I have. Now when I send to the method, let me write the signature of these two methods. Assume that I have public static int calculate sum, and this calculate sum takes an integer called n. Alright? So this means that in memory, okay, doesn't want to copy. In memory, there is a variable called n, and n takes values. It's not a reference, it's a primitive data type. When you call the method with the value of n, when you call calculate sum and you send number, what you are actually doing over here is sending the value. So now this n will take the value of number. You see, n and number have the exact same value. So in my main program, number will not be modified. If over here I modify the n, fine, it will be modified in this variable, but in the main program, number is always 10. Now for arrays, I have another method with a different signature. Public static int, let me write the calculate sum. It takes an integer array. You see, different type, an integer array, and let's say over here this is called v, or values. Now when you send to an array, you send, this is numbers is an array, this is known to be sending by reference, not by value. Alright, I am sending by reference. Let me put a red color over here, and for this value, okay, I do not want this. Alright, I need this value to be green. Now what do you mean sending by reference? I cannot send all of these memory locations. When you have an array, you will be only creating something called values. Now I will fill it later, so let me put this up. Values is going to take the reference 12012. So values is going to point to the same array in memory. Now be careful. When you are sending an array to a method, if the method modifies a value in this array, it is modified in your main program. When you send by value, it's in a different memory location. You see, the same array exists in the main program and in the method because you are sending the reference. So what you are doing, you are working directly on the memory locations. I will demonstrate this as well, but it's important to understand what I did over here. In case you find this a little bit confusing, kindly rewind the video like 10 minutes earlier, rewatch this part, and make sure to understand what passing by value and what passing by reference is and what the difference between them is all about. Now let me go to my NetBeans and demonstrate this example. Here, NetBeans. I will keep, actually no need to keep, I will write from new. Here, no need to keep anything, write new. I will start now. Now we are used to methods, so I will start by declaring the methods. So this is public static int calculate sum. This takes an integer n. For let me put sum is equal to 0. Let's assume that I go from 1 to n. So this is an integer, of course. So this is for int I equal 1, I less or equal to n, I plus plus, sum plus equal to I. Okay, this was supposed to be a semicolon. Return sum. Okay, this is my first method, calculate sum. Now let me write another method. Public static int. I will call this, give it the same name. You can call it different names, but since we are learning about overloading, so let's keep the same name. So calculate sum, and this method is going to take an integer array, and let me put values. Even though I can use the same name, doesn't matter, but let me put values. Int sum is equal to 0, and for int I equal to 0, I less than values dot length. This is the name of the array, I plus plus. Be careful not to start with 1 because this is the indices. Over here in calculate sum, I am calculating from 1 to n. I started with 1, but over here this is the index of the element inside the array, and we know that the index starts with 0. So this is sum plus equal. I will take one item at index I from values and add it to sum, and finally I will return sum. So now I have a method that takes an array. It goes to all the indices of the array, and this is the same for loop that we wrote earlier. You must know this by heart from the arrays tutorial. So add one item from the array to the method sum and return the value. Alright, now let me call these. System.out.println. By the way, you can declare a variable, call the method, and then write the variable. Here, let me demonstrate this. For example, int sum is equal, and I will calculate sum, or I can directly use it in the print, of course, but since we have already used that before, so let's do it this way. So I know from 1 to 10 is 55, and int numbers, or let me do it even differently. I need to send a variable over here. So int number is equal to 10. Now I send number. Yes, this is much better. Now this is an array, so int array numbers is equal. Here, let me put the same values. Okay, I am using curly braces. Let me put the same values. I use 2, 5, 8, and the 12. So let me put over here 2, 5, 8, and the 12. And let me declare int array sum is equal to calculate sum, and I send the array, which is called numbers. Alright, so now this is my program. I have a variable with value 10. I have another variable called sum that will call calculate sum, get this integer and store it. So the integer is the sum from values from 1 to 10. I have an array called numbers. I will call a method calculate sum, which returns an integer. The method is going to calculate the sum of 2, 5, 8, and the 12 altogether. Now let me write these two out. System.out.println sum is equal to plus the variable sum plus, let me go to a new line, \n plus, and let me put over here array sum is equal and let me put the array sum. Alright, actually there's no need for this concatenation. Just go to a new line, starts with array sum, and give me the value of array sum. You can of course write different output lines. I just combined them together. So now sum is equal, it should give me 55. Array sum, this should be 2 plus 5 7 plus 8 15 plus 12 27. So let's run and check the result. You see sum is 55 and array sum is 27. Alright, so now we know that arrays are working properly. However, I did not demonstrate what do we mean by passing by value. What do we mean by passing by value? You see this array, it was created over here. Alright, now no need to run this code that I will write, but let me just focus on each part separately. So let me remove these. Let me remove these lines. And let me directly put over here system.out.println sum is equal, and I will put the value sum. Alright, so here's a first run. Sum equal to, sum equal to 55. Now inside, or the method calculate sum. Inside the method calculate sum, you see this value n. Before I return the value, I will modify it. N is equal to 5. Okay, so the method n, the method calculate sum takes the n, modifies it. It makes n 5. Let me recalculate sum. Sum is equal. So let me put calculate number and provide an output. Alright, now I have two lines of output, of course, but they will be identical. You see the variable number, it was not modified in the main method, and what you are sending is not a variable. You are sending the value 10. You are sending the value 10. So even if the method modified the value of the variable in the parameter list, it is receiving a value. This will not affect the main number. Let me go to my board. If I modify this n to 5, you see number is still 10. Number is still 10. Well, what if I modify the value of the first element in the array? You see, if I modify it to 0. Now, passing by reference means you can even modify the values in the main program. Let me go to NetBeans and demonstrate this. I will remove these lines. Let's declare an integer array called numbers with values 2, 5, 8, 12. These are the values. And integer sum is equal to calculate sum, and I will send numbers. System.out.println and array sum is equal to sum. Alright, even though I can call this here, let me call this the way I had called it before, array sum. So array sum is equal to array sum. Alright, I know this number is 27. Let me run it for demonstration purposes. So array sum is 27. Now, let me modify, before I return, after calculating the sum, let me modify values of 0 to take the value 0. You see, values of 0 was 2. Now I modified it to the value 0. So the sum of the values in the array are now 0 plus 5 plus 8 plus 12. So if I recalculate, array sum is equal to calculate sum numbers, and I reprint it, I will have the first one 27, the second one 25. So you see, first one 27, the second one 25. Alright, the code that I wrote is not that important. You just need to be careful that with what I have over here on the board, with reference parameters, let me return this back to 10, and let me return this back to 2. When you send an array, it takes a reference. Be careful with reference parameters. When you send the value of a variable, it will take the value. So this is just a copy of the value that you have. All right, now let me go back. Let me go back to the slides, and let me go to the slides that I skipped. You can check the following slide 17. This is taking two parameters, a string and an integer. So this should be easy. You are using the string in the print and using the integer for the loop. So you can put as many parameters as you want, like 2, 3, 5, 10, it doesn't matter. The return type, what void means, when you return an integer, you can check the method max comparing two values. You need to do all the slides. This is using sum with doubles and sum with an integer. Check it out as well. Method is positive. Other examples, there are plenty of examples over here. Make sure to cover all the slides. Now, passing arrays to methods, I did a similar example. Passing by value and passing by reference. So do the following, check them out. You see what is going on with inside the array, outside the array, modifying a value in the array, then printing it out. So you can check all of these, the code. You can try the code yourself. There is a section called searching arrays. There's a linear search. Make sure to understand what a linear search is. You are taking an array and a value to see if this value exists or not, and where does it exist. You see, if key equal to list of I, this is what you are searching for. Return the index, otherwise -1. You see, in an array there is no -1 index. So if you return -1 for the array, means you did not find the key. You did not find the key. Alright, now there's an example with two-dimensional arrays, and basically this is it. So exercises. I will do one of the exercises. So here, let me open the exercises. The exercises are very important, and you can find the solution to these exercises on Moodle. I will do this last exercise, which is write a Java method called shortest string that takes an array of strings as an argument and returns the shortest string in the array. Include your method in a Java program that reads 10 words from the user, stores them in an array, then call the method and provide the output. So I need to take from the user 10 different words, 10 different strings. Then I call my method. The method is going to search inside the string which one of these words is the shortest, and it will give me the final result. It will tell me this word is the shortest. So the method is going to simply print the result. No need to return a string, just print the result. So let me do this program. Of course, all the programs are important. I will just do the last one, and you can do all the others yourself. You will have the solution available on the LMS. Let me go to NetBeans, and let me start actually, instead of starting here, let me modify the code. No need for all of this code. This was just for the purpose of explanation. Let me prepare this program for taking input. So this is import java.util.scanner, and inside the main, this is where I will be reading the words. So this is scanner input is equal to new scanner of system.in. Be careful, if you will read the words in a method, you need to declare your scanner inside the method that will read the words. I will be reading them in the main, so I need a string array. I will call this words is equal to new string of 10, because I will be reading 10 words from the user. Now, loop. Let's start with a prompt. System.out.print. Enter 10 words. Now loop. For int I equals 0, I less than, instead of using 10, let me use the array length. Words.length. What if I modified the length of the array? I plus plus, and I need words of I to be equal to my input dot next. Take one word. I can even modify this 10. I can concatenate here and put over here words dot length. So now, depends on the size of the array. You tell the user enter that many words, you read that many words. If the length is 5, enter 5 words, you read 5. If the length is 10, enter 10 words, you read 10. Now, I need to call a method over here. So let me write the method and then modify the method call. Let me write the method. Public static. The method is going to provide output. So this is void. Shortest string. This takes a string array. Now, you can use the same variable called words, or you can simply just use, for example, let's say codes or whatever, or values. You see, values always works whether you are using integers, doubles, or strings, because everything is a value. I like to use different variables in order not to confuse myself, but using over here words is definitely not the same. You see, it is highlighted by itself over here. This one is not highlighted. It's a different scope. But I do not like to use the same variable name in order not to confuse myself, unless it's very obvious and the name has to be used, like students. So this is probably a good name. Alright, now over here inside the method, I know that I have an array of strings. Now I will assume that the array always has values. So I will put over here string. I will use the word shortest. This is equal. Now I will make an assumption. Values of 0. You see, I am assuming the first word to be the shortest. I assumed the first word to be the shortest. I do not know yet. Now I need to make sure about my assumption. For int I is equal. Now you could put 0 because we are used to this, or you could skip 0 because you assume that 0 is the shortest. So for int I equal to 0, I less than, this is called values, values.length I plus plus. Of course, I could start with I being 1 instead of 0. Now I need to test if is there a value shorter than my word. So if, you see, values of I dot length, and do not forget the parentheses. This is the length of a string. If it is less than the shortest dot length, do not forget the brackets, parentheses, because length of the array does not take parentheses, length of the string takes parentheses. If values at this index is less than the shortest, then this is the new shortest word. So modify shortest. Shortest is equal to values of I. And now provide it as output. System.out.println shortest word is concatenated with the value of shortest. Now the method call. Let's remove it. The method is called shortest string. This is the name of the method, and I need to send the string, the array that I have. The array is called words. So I am sending the whole array. I am assuming the first value is the smallest, is the shortest. I am going over all the array. This is a linear search. When you go over all the items one by one, perform an if statement. This is known as a linear search. So I perform a linear search, one item after the other, and then I finish my search with the shortest word that I have. I provide it as output. This is shortest, not shortest. Alright, now let's test this. Let's do a sample run. Run. Enter 10 words. Now, it doesn't have to be a sentence. I can write 10 words. For example, Monday, space, do not use commas. Do not use commas. Because dot next is going to read a word and the comma will be part of the word. So do not use comma. Wednesday. Sunday. This is not Sunday. This is Sunday. Java. University. And let's have the Arab open. Now I have already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can put a new line. Doesn't matter. Just continue the words. Here, let me increase this over here a little bit. I need three more words, like hello, and let's say TM105 and computing. Now I have several words. Some of them 5 characters, some of them 6 characters, some of them even more. But basically, I have 3 words made of 4 letters. So the output is going to be the first one. The first one. So technically, Java is the shortest word. Why only the first one? Because you are checking. If you find one which is less, not less or equal. If you put less or equal, it will be the last one. So less, it will be the first one. So the output will be shortest word is Java. Alright, searching for multiple words is a little bit trickier and not really part of this exercise. This is what the exercise is all about. So now you know why it is written this way and why it will give you only the first one. Alright, I will stop this video over here. Make sure to do all the exercises as they are an essential part of learning. So thank you for watching this video.